Hi, koalas. It's Mrs. McBride. I popped into my classroom a little bit today, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity for me to sit down and say hello and maybe share an idea of something fun you can do over this extra long break while you're at home, just hanging out in our classroom library with all of our books. And I got the idea that I would like to share with you one of my favorite authors. His name is John Shushka. Really hard to say, but he's a really amazing author. In second grade this year, we have read so many different versions of fairy tales, and we've compared and contrasted them, and it's been so much fun. And John Shushka is like the master of writing different and hilarious fairy tales. One of his books is The Stinky Cheese Man. As you can see, it was a Caldecott Honor winner. When you see that silver sticker on a book, you know it's good stuff. It's called The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales because it is an anthology. It has many different fairy tales that he has rewritten and made them extremely silly. It's so much fun to read. The narrator of the book actually talks to you. Pages are falling apart. Like, characters interrupt each other. It's just so much fun to read. So I highly, highly recommend this. This is when I was in second grade. That's when my teacher introduced me to John Shushka, and I have loved his books ever since then. So actually, all the books I'm showing you are my copies from when I was in second grade. So that's why they look a little old. The next one is the true story of the Three Little Pigs. As we all know, in the original version of the Three Little Pigs, he is the big bad wolf. He's clearly the villain. But John Shushka does something cool, and he tells it from the wolf's perspective. So see if the wolf can change your mind, and maybe you'll think he was the innocent one in the story. You'll have to see. And then there's this one, which might be my favorite. It's The Frog Prince Continued. I'm actually going to read a little bit of it to you, just so you can kind of see what it's like, and maybe it will inspire you to want to read more of it, or maybe find a YouTube video of it online or something like that. But we all know the original story of The Frog Prince. The princess finds the frog, she kisses him, he turns into a prince, and as all fairy tales end, they lived happily ever after. But what John Shushka does is he says, well, what happens if they didn't really live happily ever after? And it's quite funny. So I'm going to read a little bit of it to you right now. So sit back and enjoy. So this is The Frog Prince Continued by John Shushka, and the illustrations are by Steve Johnson. I'm actually going to move this way a little bit so you can see. The princess kissed the frog. He turned into a prince, and they lived happily ever after. Well, let's just say they lived sort of happily for a long time. Okay, they weren't so happy. In fact, they were miserable. Stop sticking your tongue out like that, nagged the princess. How come you never want to go down to the pond anymore? Whined the prince. The prince and princess were so unhappy. They didn't know what to do. I would prefer that you not hop around on the furniture, said the princess, and it might be nice if you got out of the castle once in a while to slay a dragon or a giant or whatever. The prince didn't feel like going out and slaying anything. He just felt like running away. But then he reread his book, and it said right there at the end of the story, they lived happily ever after. The end. So he stayed in the castle and drove the princess crazy. Then one day, the princess threw a perfectly awful fit. First you keep me awake all night with your horrible croaking snore. Now I find a lily pad in your pocket. I can't believe I actually kissed your slimy frog lips. Sometimes I think we would both be better off if you were still a frog. That's when the idea hit him. The prince thought, still a frog? Yes, that's it. And he ran off into the forest, looking for a witch who could turn him back into a frog. So I'm going to stop there so you can follow the rest of his adventure in the forest trying to find a witch. One thing I really like about this book is that they infuse characters from other fairy tales that you're familiar with, wicked witches and fairy godmothers, and you kind of get to see a hilarious way that they all connect and interact with each other. So it's fun to see that too, and it's just really hilarious, like I said. So I think you would really enjoy it. But I do have a challenge for you. It's fun to read these types of fairy tales, but it's really fun to write your own. There's no limit to what you can do. So my challenge for you is for you to write your own fractured fairy tale. So a fractured fairy tale, the word fractured means broken. So what the author does is the author takes a fairy tale that we all know and love, and they change things about it. They might change the characters or the setting, or even the ending to it, and they keep some of the same things, but they make a brand new version. So you can do this with any of your favorite fairy tales that you like. Instead of the Three Little Pigs, it could be the Three Little Dinosaurs, or like you could take it and tell it from a different perspective, like they did with the wolf side of the story. So there's no limit to what you can do, and I actually have a really great website for you where you can go do this. It's called readthinkwrite.org. So if you go to this website, it has lots of really great learning tools that your parents could explore during this time with you. But I want you to go to the search bar and type in fractured fairy tales. When you do that, a few different links are going to come up, but if you click the first link, it will pop up the little activity, and there's a Get Started button. And if you click on that, it's going to lead you through a lesson that will help you write your own fractured fairy tale at home. It has a few different original versions of some fairy tales that you can listen to get some ideas, like Jack and the Beanstalk, I think, is one of them. And then it will give you a brainstorming page, like who are your characters going to be? What's your problem going to be? What's the setting going to be? So you can get all your ideas down, and then it will actually let you type and publish your story. So it's just a really fun way to be creative and also practice writing. I know we have some great writers here at Bay Meadows, and this would just be a fun way for you to practice writing, but do it in a way that's a little bit different, and I hope you will have fun with it. Like I said, it's really strange to be here without all of you. Our school is so special, and we miss you all so much. You are all so loved by all of us, and even though we're spread apart and we're far apart from each other, we are all koalas, and we will always be connected. So know that we are all thinking of you, and we're all here for you, and I want you to just enjoy this time with your family. There's so many different ways you can learn. Learning doesn't have to be in a classroom. You can learn so much at home. So just take every opportunity you have to find ways to learn new things and have fun and spend time with the people that matter the most to you. We will get through this together, and I hope that we will see each other soon. Bye!